and welcome back to another video, another car video. Today I'm driving in an RS6. You may remember from a few months ago I test drove an RS6 Performance. It was the red one, and I think that was actually one of my first car videos. Anyway, this is a standard RS6. I say standard, well, that's a bad thing. As RS6s go, this is actually quite a tame spec. The car doesn't have the sports exhaust, it doesn't have tinted windows, it's got the standard 20-inch Audi alloys that come with the RS6, so they haven't really gone all out on this car. But despite that, this car is still an animal. It's still very, very fast. It sounds brutal. It's everything that I fell in love with the RS6 Performance about, but it's 20 grand cheaper, which is a big relief for me, because looking into buying one of these, if I were to get an RS6, I didn't want it to be a trade-off. You know, I didn't want to get a car that wasn't as fun to drive as the Performance was. But at the same time, the Performance is such a jump in price, and I just couldn't afford it, that this being how it is, feeling how it is, driving the way it does, is a really big relief for me. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm probably going to ramble a little bit. All of the statistics of this car I'll put in the description, but off the top of my head, this has around 560 brake horsepower. I think the 0 to 62 time is 3.5 seconds or something crazy like that. I know some people have managed to get a quicker time out of these. Audi always tend to overcompensate for their 0 to 60 times. And regardless of the power, it's the size of the car that appeals to me the most. Just being in a bigger car is so much nicer once you get used to it. It's a bit of a pain in the ass when you want to park it, because it's so big and it's so wide. You're always a bit anxious that someone's going to open their car door on your car because they won't have much room. And I don't want to be one of them knobs that parks over 2 spaces. The driving around town, and just as I am now, just on the countryside, just moseying along, is like driving a normal A car. And that's the crazy thing about it. You can put this car into comfort, or as I have it, in individual. The suspension set to comfort, and it just bounces along. You know, it's so smooth, it's unreal. And then when you put it into dynamic, you immediately feel the car tighten up a little bit, and it gets more aggressive, and the sound gets more aggressive. And the sports exhaust is a nice touch, like the RS6 Performance. Every time you kind of took your foot off the accelerator, it was cracking and popping, and that's nice. Don't get me wrong, I think I would choose that. But even without it, this car still sounds so beast. It's almost like driving a hot rod. It just sits there, the big V8 just tumbling over, and then when you want to give it some, it just changes. The characteristics of the car just change, and it just becomes this animal. I'm not really sure what to say, to be honest. I'm probably not stringing along my sentences very well, because there are just so many things I like about this car. I'm finding it hard to run through all of them in like a list. In the past, I've made videos about cars, you know, what I dislike, etc. And right now, there's just nothing that I dislike about this car. All of the annoyances, like trying to park it and all that shit, they don't even come close to the positives, which are the way it drives, the sound, just everything, the way it looks. I just don't think that there's any other car that can come close to this, you know? There can't be. The M3, no. Nothing. It's just amazing. It really is. I need to concentrate now because I've got some bikes behind me. do bikes like that, and I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Because this fucking thing is an animal, man. I swear to fucking God, no car makes you feel like that does. Jesus Christ. On these country lanes, with that fucking Quattro, there ain't no fucking car that's as quick as this, man. Jesus. Fuck me. 2 bikes, man, and they were hanging it. They were giving it some, and they couldn't keep up, and they weren't little fucking bikes either. Fucking hell. This thing, honestly, every time you drive it, if you can drive it on your own, makes you fucking smile, honestly. It's like it wants you to fall in love with it. It wants you to become obsessed with driving the car. It's just such a beast. And the thing is, now we're back to 30, everything's quiet, and we're just driving along comfortably, admiring the scenery. It's just epic. This is why I love driving. It's cars like this that make me love driving. And yeah, it's not manual, fucking all that shit. And yeah, I said I'd like to drive a manual car in my previous video. But to be honest, when you can take corners like that at National and not have to worry about changing gear, that to me is so much more fun than occasionally changing gear to, I don't know, feel more involved with the car and stuff. But when you're flying round corners at speeds you probably shouldn't, not above the speed limit, I just mean, you know, cornering wise, it's just, you're so involved because you're trying to fucking concentrate on keeping the car on the road. Jesus. And I apologise for the swearing, got a bit ahead of myself there. But honestly, it's my next big life goal, other than, so we got the house, so we moved house, okay, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Other than being a good parent, my next big life goal is to fucking get one of these cars. I have to do it. I feel like we're meant to be with each other. Ever since the first time I drove that RS6 Performance to now, I just feel as though this car and I are meant to be together. If you were watching this video hoping for some sort of really technical review, I'm sorry. As I've said many times before, I'm just somebody who likes to drive cars, that's it. When you launch this car, and unfortunately there's nowhere around here that's appropriate for me to do that, but when you launch this car, it will just keep going. It just keeps fucking going. You run out of road before you even get to 8th gear. It's just intense. It just pulls like nothing I've ever been in. Your family car that's, you know, more than capable of just cruising around town suddenly annihilates most things that are on the road. I mean, before I ramble anymore, let me wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me on my short drive around the countryside. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you own an RS6, please leave in the comments anything you think I should know. Or if you don't own an RS6 and you own a comparable car, tell me what you think could be a bit better than this. Tell me what you do and don't like about them, etc. And until the next video, peace.